You can't hide the beauty of this spectacular Mediterranean island. Still, Mallorca has become a favourite hideaway for the likes of Christopher Skase, who breathed his last breath here, and now Sir Bob Geldof, who escapes to this ancient village of Daya every summer.
It is good, like, you know, I'm not so far away that I feel disconnected. And
do you feel as good as you look? I mean, I'm fair dinkum. I mean, you look good and comfortable, relaxed.
Gorgeous, I think, is the word you're looking for, you know, or close to it.
I was searching for gorgeous again. The old boomtown rat is still trying to come to terms with the pain of the Paula Yates, Michael Hutchence soap opera that became a real-life tragedy.
I mean, what stunned me was, again, this objective thing. The physical pain of it was so bizarre. Like, it hurts. It hurts. Like, it's like you've been pounded in there, had a car crash and smacked against the wheel. I mean, I couldn't survive that stuff again. And I don't want to be...
So you wouldn't marry again?
No, I don't think so. And I wouldn't... Well, that for fear, you know, really. I mean, really for fear. I'd be scared stiff now.
Paula Yates was just a London teenager when she moved in with this Irish punk rocker. Their private passion play was acted out on the world's front pages.
She was really funny and really beautiful, and as I've said before, you know, all the grace and light and joy and beauty that I don't possess, and that I need.
19 years and 3 daughters later, Bob and Paula's love affair suddenly ended when, as host of the English TV programme The Big Breakfast, Paula met Michael.
When it came to sexiest man, you won.
Their mutual attraction was pretty obvious.
And do you think you're going to get married?
Soon after, Sir Bob found himself home alone, without his wife and without his 3 little girls.
Drag yourself up the stairs and you don't smell the children anymore. You don't hear them rustle in their sleep. Never mind. I mean, that's the thing that just utterly emptied me, you know. I was incapable of anything, any intellectual function, any physical function, certainly.
I couldn't get up out of bed?
I couldn't get up. I couldn't get it up. I couldn't get up out of bed. I mean, you're rejected and discarded. I mean, that's what you feel. That's what I felt. What you are is just a single, raw and vivid nerve end. So that if you're touched by kindness or anything like that, you recoil like the whip dog. And you're just this emotional mess.
Was there a point where you thought of suicide?
Yeah, I did, because I didn't want to wake up. And what I did was I made out a list of you know, why you would stay around, and a list of why bother staying around. And frankly, the why bother staying around was a page long, and the list of whys to stay around was 2 words: the children.
Maybe it's his Irish poet's gift of the gab. But Geldof says what a lot of people feel when they lose love.
Nothing compensates, none of the beauty of the world, the coffee in the morning, a beautiful woman passing by, a great work of art, the most fantastic song, driving your car on an open road, gone. They mean nothing. Life without love is meaningless.
But if I was a close mate of yours, why wouldn't I say, Bob, you're hugely successful, everything's worked, this happens to the best of thousands?
That's bollocks, you know. I mean, that really is. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. And anyway, like as I say, I don't view myself as being hugely successful, and that's not being smart or fishing for compliments. Oh, Bob, you know, yes, you are. You've done this. You know, it doesn't feel like that. You know, can you stop? Because I don't want to.
Yeah. 7 years later, it's clear that Geldof's pain is still very raw. No. He can talk about it better than he can deal with the emotions.
Had it been up to me and there were no children, I'd have just legged it. I'd have just gone to some dark, grey corner of the world and howled into the void. for 2 years.
But it seemed in your case, your greatest fear was that Paula would take the children to Australia and you wouldn't get to see them.
No, that wasn't really. I mean, people, a lot of the tabloid stuff was completely wrong. And that was not the great fear at all. I just wanted to be with my kids 50% of the time.
In 1997, the love triangle turned tragic when a coroner found that Hutchence had committed suicide in a Sydney hotel room. 3 years later, Paula overdosed on heroin, leaving their baby girl Tiger Lily an orphan.
The reality is that some of the things of the last 6 or 7 years are unsayable. They're unsayable.
But if someone says, Bob, did you have the last conversation with Michael Hutchence? Did you get angry? Did you hang up the phone?
I did have a conversation with Michael and I didn't hang up the phone. No, the conversation ended. I had loads of conversations with him, of course,
He'd drive you crazy?
It was probably mutual.
Yeah. What did you think of him?
We'd meet in passing like you do, and I used to get along well with him at parties. I thought he was a hoot, and he was smart and funny, but then, stuff happens.
Geldof has never spoken publicly like this about Hutchence. It was his call, how personal, how private he wished to go. But up until the time when Michael died or killed himself, Paula killed herself, it had been a fairly normal divorce.
You would say that, except you don't have the aggravating factors of the constant press attention, the 50, 60 guys outside your door. But I take issue with what you said earlier. You said Michael killed himself and Paula killed herself. They didn't. They just didn't. And
so what did they do?
In both cases, it was accidents that happen way out on the limb of what you're doing. Knowing full well the circumstances in which the events took place, I can absolutely say that they didn't kill themselves.
Ooh, you should have known better. You should have known better.
On his latest album, Bob Geldof's written a dozen new songs about everything, from sex to suicide.
I don't know what else I could write about if I didn't write about the stuff that's in me.
You got a life and left me for dead.
The words are naked emotion, bitter poetry aimed at Paula and especially at Michael Hutchence.
There is a song that's very angry in it, but it's inside your head, and
That's to Michael Hutchence.
It's not.
Okay.
People say that, but it's actually not. It's to all of us.
But Bob, if you were doing this interview, you'd quote the words. So let me do it. This is your song. You got the gold, I got the lead. You got the view, I got the ledge. You got the palace, you left me the shed. You got a life, you left me for dead. So why put a noose around your neck?
Yeah, I mean...
It can only be Michael.
No, it isn't addressed to him. That line is, you've got... Why would you do that? Why? Why do that, How could it get to that?
But you said to me earlier that you didn't think Paula or Michael committed suicide. Why would you write, so why put a noose around your neck? Why would you be that graphic?
Well, that song is very graphic and very blunt. And
did you go too far?
No, I don't think so, because it happened.
But what about Tiger Lily, if she hears it?
Well, she's heard it on the radio and stuff like that.
But Tiger Lily's only 5. Does she understand what you've written?
Well, I mean, it's self-explanatory. I mean, if they do come to the point where in later years they say, that was embittered, I'd say, yeah, of course, what do you expect?
What are the suggestion that you've done something noble, you've done something incredibly decent by taking on Tiger Lily as well?
Yeah, but that's a no-brainer. I mean, that's ridiculous. Anyone would have done exactly the same. It's a little kid who's lost their mum and dad, whose sisters are with me. I mean, please,
But even though she was the daughter of your ex-wife and her lover?
What's that got to do with it? She's a gorgeous, beautiful little spark, And, the girls adore her. We all adore her, She's a fantastic kid.
Does she call you Dad?
She does, yeah. We were doing the shopping and one of my songs came on the radio, on the PA, you know, followed by Michael. And she just went like this, and she said, that's you, Dad, with my one. And she said, yeah. And she said, and that's my real dad. And I said, yeah. And she said, my real dad's a better singer than you. Yeah, thanks, you know, great. You know, thanks, kid. You know, true, but, you know.
Scratching the flesh, scraping of bones.
Best
But
you
four
can.
beautiful girls, how are you going to tell about rock and roll and sex and drugs and the things that you've been through when you can't say don't do it, because you did.
I have to say, first, I'm your dad. This is so you can start. This is wildly embarrassing for you, but it's not so bad for me. Secondly, I'm a man. And thirdly, I've been in a rock and roll band for 27 years. So there isn't anything you can think about in sex that I haven't done. Okay, so that's a given. Like, shut up, yeah.
St Bob has moved on from Band Aid and Live Aid and just saving Africa. His latest crusade, with fellow Irishman Bono of U2, is to try and rid the entire third world of crippling debt. They're as serious about this as they are about their music.
But he says you've got the big picture and he goes for the jugular.
No, he has the picture, and I look at it over his shoulder. That's the relationship. It's I'm a fan, and that's really it. And yeah, I've become a friend, but I'm still a fan.
He's enamoured by the world and I'm enraged by the world, and we both arrive at the same end by the twin opposite emotions. That's how it kind of works, you know.
But the Boomtown Rats and Bob's presence and the idea that you could actually take a swipe at the world and it might change shape for a moment or an afternoon or a week or a year. That's something we learned from Bob.
There's over in Chelsea, there's the Chelsea.
Call him St Bob, call him Sir Bob. The fact is, he's still a simple man whose wife left him for someone else. Still wandering the back streets of his brain, trying to figure out just what went wrong.
Ray, I mean, how many of your mates have almost not made it, who are going through it, who feel the absolute hatred and the bitterness and the loss? And I would love to have got there. I would love to have gone through this wild, beautiful girl and this mad Paddy meet when they're kids, and they go off on this wild ride together where they just see everything in the world that's there to be seen, and then it ended. Isn't that sad? Yeah. And would she have gone off and done, had great things with Michael? Yeah. And that's sad that didn't happen. It is. It's all awful. It's all awful. And there's nothing good came out of it. Nothing. Where's the upside here?
Hello, I'm Liz Hayes. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9 Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.